Mash Ponigala, brand strategist and brand builder. Today's topic is a little bit of a sticky one, fear. In fact, it brings to mind I would say, not so famous quote from the popular book Dune. Fear is the mind killer. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And then, when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I remain. Okay, so when I read this quote, it sort of feels very it makes perfect sense when it comes to business. In my opinion, fear is the business killer. And the reason is that fear, like with everything in life, sort of takes away action. It takes away the confidence to do the right thing. But there are many kinds of fear when it comes to the business, right? What kind of fears do people usually face in business? In fact, before that, fear, what does fear do to business? How does fear kill a business, right? If you look around, most small businesses and even bigger businesses, a lot of their struggles can be attributed to fear. Fear of not knowing what to do. Fear of not having a strategy, right? Fear of not investing enough in business development. Fear of not taking a risk. Fear of change. Fear of the unknown. Fear of, taking risks. Fear of being wrong. A lot of fears. So what do these fears really do? If you're looking at your business, and let's actually split it into two kind of angles, right? One is fear preventing you from launching your business. Now, I worked with a ton of clients in the past 22 years, and one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that entrepreneurs take a long time to launch their business, and that is because of fear. Fear actually manifests in the form of perfectionism, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs think that a business, everything has to be lined up, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be checked off before a business can go live and before a business can be successful. Well, to be honest, I think that is completely wrong. Because if you wait for everything to be perfect, if you wait for everything to align and to every box to be checked off, then you're going to allow fear to creep in. Between the moment you've come up with this brilliant new business idea and the moment that the business actually launches, and of course, the eventual moment of hitting success, there's lots of opportunities for fear to creep in. As you go through the process, so you've sort of, set up your business, you've registered your business, you've got your domain name, you got a business name. Maybe you even went ahead and invested a little bit in getting a brand identity created. And you know your product or service, and you're investing in getting a prototype done maybe. Or if it's a service, then you know how to sort of put your service out there. And then you're thinking, okay, hang on, maybe I need to have the perfect marketing plan before I get started. Or the website has to be perfect before I get started. Or it could be, let me study the market. Let me see, nobody else is maybe doing this. And they're not doing it because there must be a reason. So maybe I need to spend time. Now, all these are valid reasons. They're good reasons. But these are also reasons that are being manifested because of fear. And like I said, fear, different kinds of fears. And the biggest fear is that maybe the business will be a failure. In fact, if you look around the businesses, some of the businesses, a lot of the businesses that are successful now, at one stage were probably niche. Where on one stage were probably businesses that people thought, oh my God, right? Take a look at Airbnb. Before, at the time it started, years and years ago, if someone said, well, it'll be, people's houses could be rented, like hotels. And if you're not using a room in your house, or if you're not using your apartment, just rent it out, put it up like a hotel. Strangers would come in, spend a night, couple of nights, maybe a week, whatever. And then, you don't need to meet them. Yeah, that would have felt like there's a potential for so much fear in that business, right? So would people really rent their houses? Would people trust other people to come in and not steal stuff, not destroy their house, whatever, right? So, but the entrepreneurs that launched that business, Airbnb, the founders, they overcame that fear. They sort of pushed through that fear and said, we got to try this out. Why not, right? It's got merit. So that is a calculated risk. Of course, it would have gone totally, down the drain. I mean, there are many, many examples of businesses and brands that have launched with big fanfare, a lot of investment, and went nowhere. Colossal losses. But if you strategize, if you have a strategy in place, and a strategy is not the same as just planning it, right? No, a strategy is based on part research, part fundamental principles, business principles, marketing principles, branding principles, and of course part on strategic kind of thought process, critical thinking, analyzing it. If you have a strategy in place, then your risk is mitigated. Your risk can be handled. And whatever the strategy tells you, in the sense, you can then follow with a fair sense of trust in it. If the strategy says that, okay, it's going to be tough, it's going to need a lot of resources to promote this business, to really make this business a success, then it is time to think. But if the strategy says, given a little bit of investment, given a little bit of passion, enthusiasm, and time, this business can be a success, then it's worth taking a shot. So this is for new businesses. But what about fear killing existing businesses? A business could have been around for a long time, and it's probably plodding along on tired old tires, right? Struggling. Any kind of recession, any kind of market change, or a new entrant, a new competitor entering that market, anything can upset that boat, can rock the boat. And the fear that entrepreneur running that business, that the founders have, the business owners have, is number one, facing the competition, right? They're constantly in fear of what the competition is doing. They're also fearful of investing in the business because, so they're getting an X amount of revenue on a monthly basis, a yearly basis, or whatever. They have a set of clients, a stream of clients coming in. They're very fearful of losing that stream. They're very fearful of committing expenses, investing into business. They're fearful of marketing because marketing can look like fluff because of the oversaturation online of people who are marketing gurus. Because small business owners, medium business owners, they're fearful of investing in marketing. What about online marketing? Social media has become a bit of a joke in terms of business owners, right? Because a lot of business owners know what social media is, but they don't know it from a business context. And then they reach out. But then when they do reach out, they try and go for the cheapest option out there because of this fear, the fear of not investing, the fear that they might waste that money. But it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you go out there and find someone who says they'll get you, 10,000 followers on Instagram for $500, $1,000, or whatever, right? Something really low. And you think that those 10,000 followers are really going to help your business, then that is, it's based on fear. It's fearful thinking. Because if you analyze it, first of all, social media is fantastic. It will definitely help your business. It will definitely help grow your business, but only if you have the right kind of audience, just like anywhere else. Think of social media just like your physical store. The right kind of people have to come in, right? It doesn't matter if 10,000 people walk by if none of them are looking to buy your product. So let's say your shop is selling, hats. And these happen to be winter hats, woolly winter hats. In the middle of summer, right? It doesn't matter how many people walk past. It's hard to find someone who would be interested in a woolly, thick winter hat in the middle of summer. So the target audience, the right kind of target audience is critical. So think about it. Is it better to have 10,000 followers with, I don't know, 0.01% of conversions, or have 1,000 dedicated followers who are really targeted? They are your core audience. They are your buyer persona, right? And they understand your brand. They align with your brand, and they're interested in your products or services. And you have a 25% conversion rate, right? It's a no-brainer. So fear of spending money, fear of investing in marketing or online is what creates a lot of this confusion over whether social media is useful or not, or should one go for it. A lot of the small business that I talk to dismiss social media. They say, well, we've tried, last year we spent $10,000 on a campaign and the return on investment was terrible. In fact, we didn't even make back $1,000. But the question is, what kind of a campaign did you run? Was it targeted? What kind of an audience? What did you say? What was the story you're telling, right? So fear of spending, fear of investing on strategy, on the right kind of visual language, on marketing, on a website. That is one of the biggest factors in businesses struggling and not making it. What about expansion? Change. Let's talk about change. Fear of change is one of the biggest factors for businesses not going to the next level. Change could be that, so they've been in the market for 10 years, 20 years, whatever, right? And they've had a certain way of doing things. They have certain products, they have certain services, and they have a certain philosophy. Now, they probably had success at one stage. And the landscape changes, consumers change, the world changes. So 10, 20 years after you've launched your brand or business or whatever, you cannot expect to continue with the same kind of philosophy, with the same kind of mindset, with the same kind of marketing strategies, right? Even the same look and feel. You have to be constantly looking at innovating in the business. What are the trends? Look, it is not about your product or service, right? Even though, of course, a lot of companies are product centric, and you might say, well, this is the product we know, but we don't want to be selling new products. That's not what I'm saying. Selling new products is not the goal of change, but innovating within that product segment. Because look, the critical element of your business success is your consumers, right? It's your target audience. Now, if they're changing, isn't it a good strategy to also sort of change so you align with them, right? Now, if that change means that you need to, tweak your product or even tweak the way you sell it, your message, what you say about your product, what you say about your brand story. If these things are out of sync with the changing population, with the changing kind of target audience, then don't you think that you need to embrace that change, right? The amount of stories that I have working with clients all around the world who are so afraid of change. And I get it. I don't blame them. This, if change can sometimes lead to disaster. Look at Coke, right? So they came up with new Coke and it was a big disaster, right? So if a company with millions of dollars and, smart people, think tanks and 100 years of history, if they can botch up a new product, then yes, a small business owner, it's risky. And there's such thing as, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? But the fact of the matter is, do you know if it's broken or not? Okay, so for that, you need to have a brand audit. You need to look at the realities. You need to really understand your target audience and see what are the changes, what's happening there. How are they consuming their media now? What's happening in their lives? So anyway, that fear, yes, change, fear of expansion. A lot of companies don't like to look at the new upcoming kind of trends and they're not prepared for it. Kodak, right? BlackBerry, Motorola. A lot of brands have shown that some of them were actively against the new kind of future trends, and in fact took up the story of saying, well, we love our legacy, we are proud of it, we're not going to look at upcoming, digital photographic revolution. And then Kodak film became ancient, right? It became extinct. And the company struggled. When the iPhone came out, BlackBerry struggled, and they didn't want to change. They didn't want to adapt. And by the time they changed, it was too late. I hear these stories. I mean, you've seen these stories all over the place, right? So change, expansion. Expansion, I don't mean just having more stores or more offices. I don't mean that. Expansion in the scope of your target audience, right? You could still be that mom and pop kind of store, and you could change your mindset so that your reach, you expand globally. Even if it's a brick and mortar and you're selling something physical, you could change. You could think, what can I do with this product that can reach globally, right? I'm not talking about just shipping globally. No, I'm talking about taking what people love out of that product, what you love out of that product, and then turning it into something that people can access from across the world, right? So fear, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I guess you get the point, right? So fear is a business killer, is the business killer. So if you're a business person today, if you're either in the process of starting a new business or already running a business, here are a few things to consider. Number one, do not be afraid of change. Change is the only constant in this world, right? That's the only thing. If you are set in your ways and you're afraid to even consider change, then change will come and it'll have its effect on you. So you cannot escape change. Number two, do not be afraid of investing in your business. I'm not saying recklessly. I'm not saying that you should just go out there, throw $10,000 at Google advertising, and then no. There is a way to do that. There is definitely a way to make sure that your return on investment is solid. So I'm talking about strategic, calculated risks and not just, frivolous kind of just throwing money out there. Do not be afraid of finding the right partner. Invest in finding the right partner who can come up with a great strategy for you, who can sort of get you onto the marketing path. I hate to say this, but don't go for the cheapest option. Go for an option that is reputable, right? A company or a marketer who has a track record, who has been there and done that, who can prove to you that they have been there and done that, not just talk about it, right? And yeah, definitely not the cheapest. Although, yes, sometimes, some lucky people may find the cheapest option and still get some results out of it. Usually, it doesn't really work out well. You would just end up wasting money. Next, do not be afraid of educating yourselves on the latest kind of marketing ideas, marketing channels, branding ideas, storytelling ideas, okay? And when you see a beautiful story being told, right? When you watch a film that you love, keep thinking of how can I implement what I loved about that film in my business? And this could be maybe the way the story was told, or maybe the way the protagonist was portrayed. What are the lessons there? Was there a morality? Can I use that in the way I deal with my customers and in customer service? So on and so forth. So don't be afraid of, that level of education. And of course, don't be afraid of, expansion. Always be looking out for the next kind of trend. Even if you don't need to make changes right away, but be aware, okay? A lot of people are afraid of even looking at that, thinking that by not looking, they're going to be safe. Absolutely not. In fact, that's exactly the opposite of what will happen, because the change will come and it'll sweep up your business. I hope you found this, rant useful. Let me know in the comments below, right? What about your fears? What do you fear in your business? Ask me a question. Let's have a conversation about fear, because one of the kind of core values of the agency that I run, and of course the name of the challenge is Awaken Your Brand. And my mission is to awaken brands, awaken business owners and entrepreneurs so that they can build the right kind of brands. And fear is, it aligns with that mission, because by awakening a brand, my mission is to reduce that fear, to get rid of that fear, and vice versa. By getting rid of that fear, I can awaken a brand. So let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you're not following this channel, you should. If you're in business, if you're building your brand, then you should watch my videos. I talk about different kinds of topics, but it's mostly about the philosophical areas of building, because that is what really makes a difference at the end of the day. So yeah, till my next video, take care.